over
and we were
in
on
Bulgaria.
Separate sides of the conference.
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
Amy and I were on separate sides of the conference at this time when they played this video. And, you know, we have the businesses and we have 4 kids and all this crazy stuff. There's no way we could ever go somewhere for a couple weeks, you know, halfway around the world. And we met kind of like in the middle of this conference center, and we were like, at the same time, we're like, we have to do this. We have to do this trip. It was crazy. And I was like thinking, how am I can't even fly somewhere for an hour. How am I going to fly over the ocean and do this? But that's how I knew it wasn't like, you know, of my own flesh. It was like I was called to do this. I'm like, all right, I can do this. So we went, and, you know, first of all, the fear of flying. Ever since then, we've been like jet setters. It's like I feel like we're in the air more than we're on the ground. We're just always flying. So that was a huge fear that I was delivered from, which opened up a whole world to me, you know, that wasn't obtainable before. And most importantly about all of this, that was just kind of background, you know, just seeing what it really looks like to be poor, to see the poorest of the poor, and to see the hope that they have. They have Jesus, and that's all they need. You know, they might not know where their next meal is coming from, but they know that they have Jesus, and, you know, their joy was overflowing, and it just totally rocked us. It totally changed our lives and our perspective on so many things. And, you know, we saw the need, and we thought, my goodness, they need so much money. They need so much help. And we just made it a point to not be overwhelmed by it, and to understand that, you know, God is going to provide, and not to be overwhelmed by the need, because, you know, no matter how much need there is, there's never a lack in heaven. And we believe that, you know, the funds will be there. You know, everything that is going to be needed for this will be there. So we decided not to be stagnant, and we didn't really know what we were doing, but we're like, we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure out how to help these people. And so we started Spirit of Adoption Ministries, and basically it partners with other ministries and provides clothing, food, money, just, you know, all of your basic necessities to take care of various people around the world, whether it be the gypsies in Bulgaria, Greece, and Turkey, or whether it be sex slaves in Nepal, whether it be supporting current missionaries. Wherever we feel called to give is where we give, and whatever we can do, not just with money, but just if we can even go to that place, whatever we feel like the Lord's calling us to do, we do it. And we just want to do as much as we can and not be stagnant. So that was kind of like a natural progression as well. And we currently have a lot of good things going on. We usually partner with existing ministries that already have something strong in the area, and we just do everything we can to help them. And honestly, that's where the music went to the next level. We decided, well, what can we do to raise money for it? So, you know, we do different fundraisers, and we've asked for donations, but then we also want to take it a step further, and we're like, you know what? The Lord has given us all this music. Why don't we take it to the next level and make the album, and then all of the proceeds from that album can go towards the Spirit of Adoption? So that's another thing that we decided to do. So our money, whenever we play shows or sell albums, anything like that, that's to fund the missions work around the world. So that's a really cool thing, because it's something that we love to do, and it's also helping people. So can't beat that. We love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So where can people go online or whatever to get more information or to buy the album?
Yes, so check it out at lovedisplayedmusic.com, and there's actually a section on there for the music, a link to the album where you can preview the album. There's booking information if you want to meet us and maybe request to do music one night. We love meeting new friends. And there's also a page on there for Spirit of Adoption, kind of saying what we're up to, some background on everything. So it's a pretty all-encompassing website. Everything you'd want to know is probably right there. And if you want to know more, you can always send us a message, and we'd love to chat with you.
I'm getting close to finishing here. I do try to ask most of the people that I interview something about themselves that people may not know about, or something about their just who they are, and I may eventually do something with that, like a compilation book or something. But let's see, one thing. What's the
There's a lot of stuff about us. I don't know. You have to be more specific.
I'm not asking you to dig out anything from any skeleton. No.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most challenging thing about being a Christian? It sounds like the two of you have been people of faith most of your lives. Of course, being a Christian is not always the stereotype. Sometimes, I guess, can be, just, be happy, don't be upset, don't whatever. But that's not, being a Christian is not always the easiest thing to do. I'm sorry, you were about to answer that.
No, you're good. So I would say don't compartmentalize your faith. And by that, I kind of mean there are always reasons to kind of walk outside of your faith and walk outside of what we know to do, the right thing to do. But, that's never the answer. We've especially learned that in our business world, running different businesses. And I think that's a big one where people are like, well, God doesn't really have anything to do with this. Business is business first and foremost. And you got to unhinge on your people sometimes and set them straight. I don't think so at all. I think that you have to conduct yourself as a Christian the same in a middle of a conference as you would your day-to-day business. So I think that would be a big challenge for people, and something that I feel like I see a lot of people struggle with is, well, yes, I'm gonna act this way in this setting, but these rules don't apply over here. Or not really rules, but this lifestyle, it doesn't affect this part of my life. So basically just compartmentalizing, I think, is, a really dangerous thing to do. Does that answer the question?
That does.
Okay, cool.
And
you got anything, Amy?
Kind of in the same vein there. I think that one of the hardest things, personally, I guess, in our life, and being a Christian, owning all of these businesses, and people, they look at us like, well, you're Christian, so basically you should let us walk all over you and not have consequences, or, we've dealt with that a lot. That's been a very hard thing to continue to walk in love at all times. It would be very easy in our position to, unhinge on people when they do things to damage our business or our business's reputation, but just always, stopping and remembering to walk in love, and that even if you have to, put your foot down in some way to protect what God is doing, to still walk in love. It's very challenging sometimes, to be perfectly honest, but that's something that we try to maintain. And, we are looked at times as pushovers, but we don't feel that way at all. We have the strength to not react. Does that make sense?
That does. I would say one of my big challenges is just, I deal with the public a lot. I deal with people who have different expectations, and they can come across as pretty difficult, and just dealing with them in a way that's not, well, in the news industry, there's the stereotype of the hard-nosed reporter. Sometimes it's a little bit true, and sometimes it's just years of dealing with difficult people. So not being that type of person is definitely sometimes a challenge.
Very challenging. And people, people look at it. We just have to trust that God is in complete control and that He is handling all of that, because people tend to look at you when you are walking in love and think, well, they're weak because they don't do anything about this, or they're too calm and passive, but
Yeah.
what really it is actually, it's strength in him, and
what they don't know is we are doing something about it. We're giving it to the Lord in prayer.
right.
Well, thanks for taking the time to interview us. We really enjoyed it.
Oh, you're welcome. I've really enjoyed it too. Thank you.
Awesome.
And have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
That's almost all the time for today. Upcoming episodes will include an interview with Robert Vera, an advocate for wounded soldiers. I also attended the International Christian Retail Show in Cincinnati, and I spoke with quite a few authors and interviewed them, more than really I can recall just now. I'll be sharing their stories with you soon. Thank you for listening.